Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of a new Trekkie. My 5-year mission to search out Star Trek media, to seek out our fans and merchandise, to boldly go where no fan has gone before.
So, greetings and salutations. So, today's video, we're talking about two episodes, well, part episodes from the original run of Star Trek. And, yeah, this time we're talking about the Menagerie, Part 1 and Part 2. So, the Menagerie it was directed by Mark Daniels and Part 1, though, and Robert Butler, Part 2. One thing that it is, quite known for is the Menagerie. It is a later shows as a history, some shows will have episodes that reuse footage of things to become, say, hey, like a reusable show or something like that. Basically what I'm trying to say is the Menagerie is an episode that would be used to reuse footage from the episode The Cage, which was the unaired 1965 pilot episode of Star Trek, and it was used as a framing device in a way. I'm gonna try and give as much detail about, say, part 1 of it. What is the episode about? Basically what happens is Spock ends up kidnapping his former commander, Christopher Pike, and locks Enterprise on a course to the forbidden planet Talos 4, and lures himself and turns himself in for court-martial, where he gives an elaborate story explaining his actions. So basically, in part 1, it gives a bit of details about the current of Captain Christopher Pike and what he has gone through.
You ever met Chris Pike?
We met when he was promoted to fleet captain.
About your age. Big, handsome man, vital, active.
I took over the Enterprise from Spock. Served with him for several years.
11 years, 4 months, 5 days.
What's his problem, Commodore?
Inspection tour of a cadet vessel. Old Class J starship. One of the baffle plates ruptured.
The Delta Rays?
He went in, bringing out all those kids that were still alive.
And basically, Spock gives his, say, hey, this is my old captain, oh, hey, he ain't looking good. And all that. And it's given a little bit of details. They say, hey, it's sort of say, what Spock is doing is almost say, an assisted suicide in a way. They trying to take him back to the planet in a way.
Captain Pike, may I remain for a moment? You know why I've come, Captain. It's only 6 days away at maximum warp, and I have it well planned.
And that, say, Christopher Pike, he can only talk by beep and all that. And, yeah, so he takes him to the planet, and all that, but Spock says, yeah, I'm a criminal in a way, so put me on trial. But if you put me on trial, let me explain my reasonings and all that. And in all honesty, I actually think part 1 of the episode is really good anyway. And the fact that it uses a great way of using footage from The Cage. Keep in mind, The Cage was not really aired, so this this was like the first way of actually seeing that episode, so it works in a way. And yeah, so we have some return footage of like say like Laura Goodwin and all that, and like say the Telosians. And all that, so yeah, we get that. And how like Pike got stuck on the planet, how he got stuck in the cage.
You're a perfect choice.
And all that. So yeah, and you know, Spock is getting like say all the details. In part 2, it continues with the trial, and like say all like what it gives a bit of detail more about like say from Pike's perspective, like you know him trying to get out and all that, him explain like you know explaining how the Telosians all work and all that. Okay, this is a zoo and all that stuff. So yeah, there's that. Using more footage from the cage.
Is the keeper actually communicating with one of his animals?
If the form and the color is not appealing, it can appear as any food you wish to visualize.
And if I prefer...
To starve, you overlook the unpleasant alternative of punishment.
And, you know, help trying to get him out of the cage and all that. And yeah, I kind of think, like, say, since we never really got much details about Christopher Pike, it actually kind of works and it's kind of cool. So, in all honesty, it kind of works in that aspect. So, yeah. And then we get some more details, like, say, hey, this is, like, say, okay. And then we go into, like, say, okay. Like, it's revealed, like, say, all this footage that was showing from Talos 4, this is what's going on, actually. And so then, like, one thing, the final shots, like, we know Kirk finally sees it. It's really like, oh, so Pike is actually happy. And, you know, he's not really in his wheelchair anymore. He's not disfigured anymore. He's actually happy. Because in the original version of the cage, say the cage woman, she goes, like, say, she gets her wish, which is to have her version of Captain Pike. But he basically, so they reuse footage to make it appear that Pike has been, you know, gets his wishes to be able to be out of his chair, to be able to talk, and all that. And I don't really think, like, say, the parts of the cage, like, that part of the horror, like, you know, like, you are stuck in this chair, you can't talk. I think that's kind of true, you know, horror, and the fact that, you know, you are just this husk of your original body and all that. Like, you know, him stuck in his chair. Like, him stuck in his chair and all that, so, yeah, I think that's kind of true science fiction, and it kind of makes you feel sorry for Pike, and, you know, with him walking away at the end of part 2, it's really quite poignant, one would say. And honestly, I really kind of think this episode's pretty darn good. But what do you think about the part 2 episode, The Cage? I mean, no, not The Cage, The Menagerie, I'm sorry. But I actually think that the episode really gives, that, you know, shows his relationship with Christopher Pike. Spock is his relationship. It shows, like, you know, before you were my captain, Kirk. Like, this was my old captain. Although I was not as tight with him, we were tight. was more of a, like, captain and, relationship, where you are my friend and all that. And you're still my captain, though. But, I kind of think this episode is a pretty good episode, since it's more of a, this episode is a Spock-oriented episode. And, like, each kind of first time we feel like, whoa, Spock is sort of going off the deep end and going rogue in a way. But, it's sort of a character based, developing based episode for him. Something that works, and all the characters and actors did a rather great job in the performances they give. But what do you guys think? Put your thoughts in comments down below. Let me know. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next time. See you later.